Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today we will be talking about 8 ways that Hamilton is basically a Shakespeare play. Let's get to it. Number 1, historical figures. Now you may think, well, that's incredibly obvious. We have Hamilton, who was clearly a founding father, and we have Henry V, the 4th, the 6th, and the 8th, just to name a few from Shakespeare's plays. But did you know that both of them actually take directly from not only the general lives of the people, but also the sources themselves? So when George Washington in Hamilton says, "Are these the men with which I am to defend America?" he is actually quoting directly from something that George Washington said during the Revolutionary War. Shakespeare also does this. He takes directly from a source called Holinshed's Chronicles, which should be appearing right here. He takes directly from Holinshed's Chronicles. So, for instance, during the Battle of Agincourt in Henry V, which is one of the coolest scenes in all of Shakespeare, Henry V, in Shakespeare's play, says, "Oh, do not wish one more. We few, we happy few, we band of brothers." Which Shakespeare practically stole from Holinshed's Chronicles, which says this: "I would not wish a man more here than I have. We are indeed, in comparison to the enemies, but a few." Shakespeare is clearly much better. So that's number 1. Number 2. Both are culturally surprising. How does a bastard orphan son of a whore and a Scotsman dropped in the middle of a forgotten spot? Okay, you get the idea. Lin-Manuel Miranda starts Hamilton off with a rap and continues to rap throughout the entire play. Now, the first time I heard about Hamilton, which is a musical about founding fathers that is largely rapped, with some R&B and show tunes thrown in there, I literally laughed. And so did everybody else. I'm going to include a link just below this video to one of the first performances of a song from Hamilton. Lin-Manuel Miranda was a lot younger. He had just written a couple of songs for the play. And when he gets to the part when he says, "What's your name, man?" "Alexander Hamilton." Obama and everybody else he's performing for literally start laughing. It's culturally surprising. It doesn't seem to make any sense. And yet it ends up working so well. Shakespeare does the same thing. We look at Shakespeare now and think, well, some people, he's so uptight and he only wrote for the educated people. Nothing was really surprising in his plays. That is false. Just to give you one example, Shakespeare wrote Macbeth for James I, who was the King of England. He also was deathly afraid of witches, so much so that he did all this research on witches and demonology, and he wrote a book about how terrible it was, and he tried to root out witches. It literally was like an English witch hunt. So when Shakespeare came around to writing Macbeth, how does he start it off? Yep, that's right, thunder, lightning, and witches in the very first scene. So this would have made James I completely freak out, which was Shakespeare's evil plan. Number 3. Both Hamilton and Shakespeare's plays are intended to appeal to both highly educated and undereducated individuals. Again, when you think about Shakespeare, a lot of people think, well, only professors and people like that can really enjoy Shakespeare. But Shakespeare originally wrote the plays largely for the groundlings, who were the people who had a 2nd or 3rd grade education, who worked in menial jobs, and who just liked the parts with sex and blood and guts and ghosts and that sort of thing. Hamilton is about the founding of America, the founding fathers, which a lot of people think is only something that pertains to, I don't know, white males. And that's not entirely the case. This is a story that is completely universal. And so in order to show that, Lin-Manuel Miranda put in some humor and things like that, just to give you some examples. These lines are both from Hamilton. Legacy. What is a legacy? It's planting seeds in a garden you never get to see. Also from Hamilton. Chicka-blow. Shakespeare, in Julius Caesar, writes this: "Men at some time are masters of their fates. The fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves, that we are underlings." This is also Shakespeare. Buzz, buzz. Number 4, they used different styles for different characters. So in Hamilton, the ones who actually rap are the ones who are more revolutionary. Think about it. Lafayette, revolutionary. Hamilton, revolutionary. Who are the characters who have less revolutionary feeling? Well, think about the King of England, George III. He never raps at all. He just sings. Think about Eliza Schuyler. She supports Hamilton, but she is not herself a revolutionary thinker. So she doesn't rap either. She sings. Angelica is more of a revolutionary figure, so she gets a rap. So different styles for different characters. Shakespeare does exactly the same thing, but in a slightly different way. Take Henry IV Part 1, for instance. This is just one example, but Shakespeare does this all over the place. If a character is less educated, if they are less noble, then they'll talk like this. Look, see. See how it's just one big long paragraph, ordinary prose, just like that? Yes, so this is when Prince Hal is with all of his pub buddies and not with anybody of noble name or noble character. Now contrast that with this. This is still the prince, but he is now talking to his father, the king, King Henry IV. See how it's all in blank verse? So when he's talking to somebody who's noble, suddenly his words have a beat. We few, we happy few, we band of brothers. Whenever he needs to be taken really seriously, he starts talking in a beat. Shakespeare and Lin-Manuel Miranda do this really well. Number 5, they both have freaking huge vocabularies. He obfuscates, he dances. I will the multitudinous seas incarnadine, their being intransigent. And thus the whirligig of time brings in his revenges. Number 6, they have similar themes. Power, check. Ambition, check. Leaving a legacy, check. What is the meaning of life and death, check. I think we could keep going. Number 7, we have morally ambiguous characters. And by that I mean pretty much that they're realistic characters. Think through Hamilton, think through Shakespeare. Is there somebody that you can look up to without any kind of shady behavior or questionable actions? It's tough to find them. Take Hamilton, for instance, our main character. He's really admirable for his passion, for his intelligence, for his going after the truth, for his desire to make his nation better. But for those who know the play, he also is not that great of a person because he is stubborn, because he has an affair, because he refuses to back down even when he maybe should. Take Hamlet. He's intelligent, he's eloquent, he has a lot of things going for him, but he is also really cruel, he ends up being bloodthirsty, he needs to stop and think more often, or he needs to take action, he can't find a balance, and both of them, and this is not a spoiler, if you know anything about Hamilton or Hamlet, they both die. And we're sad when they both die because they're like real people. That's the beauty of it. They've created these people that we care about. Number 8, epic insults. Man, you're in worse shape than the national debt is in. Out of my sight, thou dost infect mine eyes. My dog speaks more eloquently. And he had been a dog that had howled thus, they'd have hanged him. Watch this obnoxious, arrogant, loudmouth bother. More of your conversation would infect my brain. So that's all I have for you today. I am a huge fan both of Hamilton and Shakespeare. If you are too, make sure to subscribe below, leave comments, like if you liked it, and hopefully I'll see you next week. I post new videos on Mondays. I'll see you then.